the President of the Sovereignty Council, Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has affirmed Sudan's keenness to consolidate its relations with all countries for achieving the common interests. He made the affirmation when received Tuesday at the Republican Palace the credentials of the new ambassadors of the Republic of South Sudan, Chad, Gambia, Burkina Faso, Belarus, and the Republic of Bosnia-Herzegovina. Lieutenant General al-Burhan has directed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to strengthen further Sudan relations and cooperation and coordination with these countries. 3 newly appointed state ministers were sworn in Sunday at the Republican Palace before the President of a Transitional Sovereign Council, Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. The new state ministers are Omar Gamaluddin Ismail as the State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Stephen Amin Arnu as the State Minister at the Ministry of Labor and Social Development, and Hashim Muhammad ibn Auf as the State Minister at the Ministry of Infrastructure and Transport. The oath-taking ceremony was attended by the Prime Minister Dr. Abdullah Hamdok, the Chief Justice Ni'mat Abdullah Muhammad Khair, and the Transitional Sovereign Council's Secretary General Major General Usama As-Siddiq Jadallah. The Council of Ministers approved at its regular meeting Wednesday, chaired by the Prime Minister Dr. Abdullah Hamdok, a number of law bills. After the Council made some amendments in them, Minister of Culture and Information Faisal Muhammad Saleh, the spokesman of the government, pointed out in a press statement that the bills included the Higher Council for Hajj and Umrah Act, an act on cancellation of National Council for Zikr and Zakirin, which were presented by Minister of Religious Affairs and Endowments. The approved bills of laws also included Human Rights Commission Act, Commission on Combating Corruption Act, and Transitional Justice Commission Act, which are among the commissions cited by the constitutional document. This is besides Act of Peace Commission and Public Prosecution 2020 Amendments and Miscellaneous Amendments Act that introduces amendments on a number of laws such as the Criminal Law, the Press Act 2009, National Security Act, political parties, professional associations, and the voluntary work organizations, explaining that the amendments aim at removing articles restricting freedoms. The Council of Ministers, chaired by the Prime Minister Dr. Abdullah Hamdok, reviewed in its meeting Wednesday the issue of Sudanese youth who have contracted with Black Shield Company of the United Arab Emirates, UAE. In a press statement, the Minister of Culture and Information, Faisal Muhammad Saleh, said that an operation room including representatives of concerned authorities was formed in the past days to deal with this issue. He announced that some of these Sudanese youth have actually returned to Sudan, affirming that the operation room is continuing its tasks, working in full coordination and maintaining contacts with the families of the youth and with authorities in the United Arab Emirates on this issue. Authorities said Wednesday they are monitoring 2 possible cases of coronavirus. Health Minister Akram Ali Atom told reporters in Khartoum that 2 suspected cases of coronavirus have entered the country through Egypt and Ethiopia. We received 2 suspected cases came from China through Cairo and Addis Ababa. We want to stress here that the 2 cases haven't been confirmed yet, but we take the samples and then send them abroad with the help of the World Health Organization, WHO, to test it. He said that after a meeting of the Council of Ministers. The minister further said one of the cases is currently in a Jazeera state and the other in the capital Khartoum. He pointed out that they are taking precautionary measures to protect the country.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs Asma Mohammed Abdullah Monday received the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs Tiber Nagy in the presence of Mr. Donald Booth, Special Envoy for Sudan, and his accompanying delegation. The minister reviewed the positive developments and achievements of the transitional government, indicating that the government is making efforts to achieve sustainable development and provide the urgent needs for the citizens.
أولاً التعجيل بتعيين الولاة المدنيين وحكوماتهم المدنية.
Prime Minister Dr. Abdullah Hamdok received Thursday a memorandum from the Sudanese Professionals Association (ASPA), the completion of the structure of the Transitional Authority, affirming the necessity of unity of the revolution forces with its components to overcome the challenges of the transitional period. The ASPA representative Ismail Attaj outlined that the memo included the revolutionaries' urgent demands, top of which the completion of the structures of the Transitional Authority by speeding up the civil governors and their governments, the formation of the Legislative Council, in addition to the issues related to the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank. Attaj has pointed out that the revolution is the revolution of the Sudanese people, and the government is the government of the revolution, expressing the ASPA support for the government until it overcomes all the obstacles. Prime Minister Dr. Abdullah Hamdok received on Tuesday IGAD's envoy to South Sudan, Ambassador Ismail Weis. The envoy briefed the Prime Minister on the implementation of South Sudan peace and government of national unity agreements. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister expressed Sudan's readiness to support efforts targeting the achievement of peace in South Sudan, as Sudan is currently the chairmanship of IGAD, but also out of the brotherly relations linked to Khartoum and Juba. The President of the Sovereignty Council, Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has awarded the Nilan Order First Class to the Ambassador of South Sudan State to Khartoum, Mayan Dot, in recognition of his efforts in consolidating the bilateral relations. Dot stated to the press after his meeting with al-Burhan on the occasion of the expiry of his assignment to Sudan that they discussed bilateral relations and the development in Abyei, which were given concern by the leaders in the two countries.